morning, everyone. Welcome to the April 16th PSTA Planning Committee meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'm Dave Albritton, your committee chair representing the city of Clearwater. And let's go around the room and introduce the rest of our board here, starting by left.
Max McCann, City of St. Petersburg.
Deborah Fleet Sanders, City of St. Petersburg City Council.
Barbara Hazelden, Pinellas County Commission appointee.
Patty Reed, what am I, Councilwoman for City of Pinellas Park.
Very good. All right, so I'll open it up for public comment. Do we have any this morning? Nothing? Okay. So we'll go ahead and go on to item 3, which is action items. Do I have a motion to approve the March 19th minutes?
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, 3B. Theo, I'm not gonna even pronounce your last name. Okay, Director of Safety and Security and Training will present a federally required public transportation agency safety report.
Good morning, committee members. My name is Theo Bacomi-Hallis, the Director of Safety, Security, and Training here at PSTA. And I'm here to discuss our Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan, and which is also known as the PTASP. So I am seeking your recommendation to approve our 2025 update of our Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan and an accompanying resolution to facilitate future updates. So the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan is in compliance with federal regulations, and it's basically an innovative approach to improving transit safety. It's based on a safety management system. It's flexible, scalable, and derives its data and stuff from keeping a risk and performance-based matrix and database on what events have occurred and are occurring. It is applicable to all transit agencies, and the FTA does conduct oversight on it. One of those things is that it must be updated every year. So the requirements is that it must address all applicable requirements from the FTA. It must specify a chief safety officer, must be signed by our accountable executive and approved by the board every update. So incorporated within our PTASP, or our Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan, is our agency safety plan, our safety management system, and of course then the actual document itself, which we are here to have approval for. There's 4 pillars of safety. The foundation of it, a safety management policy, a safety risk management, safety assurance, and safety promotion. And a little more into that as we identify, assess, and mitigate risks and hazards. We measure and monitor, evaluate those. We have the utmost buy-in from leadership that safety is paramount. And of course, we communicate and we conduct training and any other mitigations according to the results of those safety assessments. So here at PSTA, our safety is paramount. It should be included in all aspects of the agency, whether that's design, something as small as moving a bus stop, or as large as creating a terminal. Safety is paramount in all those processes. It's everyone's responsibility from the top down and from the bottom up. And so we have hazards, risks that are identified, evaluated, mitigated, and we always try to bring them down to an acceptable and practical level. We do have anonymous safety reporting, and these are some of the things that are included in the safety management system. Anonymous reporting of any safety issues, safety monitoring, we collect data, incident tracking, and investigations. We do have a safety committee that's comprised of frontline employees, union, and management as well. Our safety assurance is through AIMS, which is our Accident Incident Management System. It is a database where we graph and keep data on every single incident we have, and then look at trends and look at what needs to be mitigated, what we have to look at. And then safety promotion, communication, training. We just went through a training campaign for the entire company, actually. We had about 550 attendees for verbal de-escalation, where we're trying to mitigate confrontations, assaults, and that manner. So it's an ongoing dynamic process, and this is the document that just kind of incorporates our procedures. The 2025 update, nothing major. We updated staff positions, organizational charts, some scheduling dates, operational statistics, our system map, our vehicle stock and inventory. The safety committee, we had a couple members that retired, so we brought forth 2 others, and so we have to keep track of that through our document. And updated some of our safety performance indicators according to the stats of 2024. So we added in here a resolution. So many of the times, these updates are just typical, and so we have a resolution where the board of directors could designate the board chair to review and execute the updates. And in the case that there is any major changes that occur, they can be brought forth to the board, whether the chair or the CEO or indicate that it could be brought forth. So I am seeking your approval of our 2025 Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan update and approval of our resolution. And I'll take any questions.
Any questions from the board?
I do.
Okay.
Go, please, go right ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I don't have any questions. I just only kind of want to ask the level of liability, since we are discussing our safety plan and safety measures, of leaving that total authority over to just the board chair. Would it still be presented to the board if there are any changes or updates? Yes, okay.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I just
major
wanted to make sure.
changes.
Okay,
And our idea, the federal requirement specifically says the board chair, but that is different across the country. And in our case, the board chair doesn't really have that authority without the board granting it. So what our thought was, anytime there's a change, that would come to the full board for review. And then significant change, and then even if there wasn't any change, we would put it on the board agenda as an informational item. But it wouldn't be voted on if there was no changes.
okay. 'Cause
And
I was
our
just
safety
questioning.
plan is a public document as well, so it can be pushed out to everybody to look at.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, part of the safety plan is about the safety of riders on the bus being safe from unruly passengers, right?
Correct.
That's within the scope of what we're talking about, okay. Yeah, this is something I think about a lot. I think it's something that's very important. Our passengers have to feel comfortable. One of the risky things, one of the challenges of public transportation is that it's open to everybody. And if you get a disruptive passenger, that's a turnoff, and it makes it harder for us to expand our ridership. I understand part of our procedures are that the driver is to report that to either our security or to the police, and intervention happens. I'm curious about, I always look at incentives, okay? If there's a passenger who is disruptive but maybe not rising to the level of a 911 call, are those drivers incentivized to intervene? And the reason I think this is so important is because on one hand, an operator is incentivized not to intervene because it might mean you might get to the bus depot late and you're not getting home on time. So I wanna make sure that a drive, and I haven't seen it on our system, I'm not accusing any of our operators on this, But I wanna make sure that riders don't face apathy, that they face empathy from the operators here, who are our first line of defense. We're not gonna put security guards on every single bus. You know, we depend on these operators. And so I wanna make sure that they're helping us ensure that every single 100% of these rides is safe, and then we can encourage more people to
Yeah,
take
you'll
the
maybe
bus.
talk about the training.
Absolutely, 100% with you on that. Like I said earlier, safety is paramount and it trumps being on time. And so in the event of any such unruliness, our operators will try to de-escalate. And that's the training we just pushed out to the entire company, actually, maintenance, facilities, anyone that might deal with the public, was on techniques and tactics that have been shown to be, not, I won't say proven, but shown to be very, very good in de-escalating things before they explode. And so our drivers get trained on that, and we support it 100%, that they try to bring down anything before it escalates.
You know, there's a stigma around public transportation that it's
Yes,
not safe.
that's across
So-
the country.
So we have to be even better than people expect, because we're overcoming that stigma. So I hope that we're not only giving the operators the tools like trainings, I hope we're giving them incentives to encourage that intervention, because I hate, inertia is a powerful thing. I could just turn a blind eye, I could just keep driving, I can hit my button, I could see that being one of our challenges for providing a safe ride too.
Agree
Yeah.
with you totally.
Thanks.
That's one of the reasons why you've been on the board for a while, you know, hopefully more often, we bring like a bus operator to the board to be recognized for, you know, doing something like that, like
Yeah.
finding a lost kid or dealing with a situation on the bus or
Yes.
whatever might happen, you know.
And it happens every day. And so our
Sure.
operators, I'll say proudly, are in the most part, they do de-escalate things, and our incidences are not, large when it comes to an escalation. But the opposite of which is if you don't get involved or de-escalate, it can blow up into something.
Yeah.
You're dealing with the public, you're dealing with a lot of people, so
Yeah.
we do push that campaign. And we do have commendations, we bring them in, my boss here, James Bradford, brings them in, we give them certificates, and then they end up sometimes in front of the board when they've gone above and beyond, and it's something grand.
Yes. Are you done?
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to counter comment to that because all of our drivers are not the same when it comes down to that. So you have a female driver, 125 pounds, and there's someone that's unruly,
Mhm.
300 pounds on the bus. I would not incentivize her to get involved because that's something that we know she's gonna lose when it comes down to that. So while we're trying to provide incentives, I also want us to look at each case by case so that there's no retribution if they do not get involved when you look at the circumstances of who the unruly passenger is. So I wouldn't think that it would be apathy on that person's part. It's just that when they clocked in that morning, they wanna clock out that evening.
Absolutely.
And I want the same thing for them.
And that's the foundation of our premises. We want our employees to go home in the same condition, physically and mentally, as they came to work. So, but when we say involved, we don't mean in a physical sense. It's-
No, I
Yeah.
get it, but
And-
just sometimes just to have a conversation back and forth
Yes.
can escalate quickly.
And we do, back to your point, we do go into every single case. We bring in every operator, we call them coachings, but we conduct about 20 a day. Whereas we bring the operator, we play video, we discuss it, and nobody is punished. No, it's dissecting what happened in the hopes that we can mitigate it in a better way. down the
Can I
road.
add to that? The amount of incidents we have on a daily basis would maybe astound you, or maybe it wouldn't. And you're absolutely correct. You have different personality types, you have different levels of disruption. Right now, we're having an issue with disruption of school children riding the buses. that we get called by other passengers. We have folks that get physical, we have folks that are inebriated. And it starts in the morning and ends at late at night. The amount of operator traffic that goes through Theo's office, I have operators texting me right now. We will we have 7 to 8 cameras on each bus. And you're absolutely right, no one case is the same. There are some where we see that our operator was truly escalated it and possibly was out of line. And there were others that were just victim of the situation at hand. The bus gets involved, now you have an unruly crowd versus one person. So we every single case we dissect. A lot of it is we just serve as, for our operators, as a safe place to go, to vent, to talk it out, to make sure that they feel, encouraged to go back out there, depending on what the situation is. There's times we've given operators off if there's been a traumatic event, just to make sure their head is in a good place. And we could go on, but it truly is a case-by-case situation, we absolutely do. And the interaction, I think, between management and operators, and don't forget, they have their union leaders that will come in to rep them if they think we're being a little bit aggressive with how we, the aftermath of it. It's a whole other full-time job. But there are people, I think we do it well though, and we really do open up our offices, even me, to say, come in here, let's talk about it, and let's see how we can do that. Is that fair to say, Tim?
Absolutely, and what we look for is kind of a root cause analysis, and I can give you a quick example. We had an issue where a passenger got aggressive, actually punched the barrier that we have because he was asking the driver to stop the bus where there was no bus stop. And although we give our drivers the ability to stop in a safe place and accommodate passengers, this particular bus driver, and you'd say that drivers are all different, didn't deem it safe, didn't want to stop, said, no, I'll take you to the next stop. Well, the next stop was almost a mile away. And so the passenger so looking into it, we brought the driver in, we went over it, we said, you didn't do anything wrong. You could have stopped, there were a lot of safe places. However, what we did is took it a step further, is we went to our safety committee and our amenities, and we put a bus stop in between, because the root cause was due to construction. Some bus stops had been pulled out and nobody had put one back. And so we went out, site visit, found a safe place, established a bus stop in hopes that that wouldn't occur again. So we'd look at every case, and many times it's a design, it's not even a human aspect. It's something that can be fixed so that it doesn't occur again.
I want to clarify one quick point.
Sure.
I'm not advocating that every driver physically intervene with a disruptive path. Intervention to me could mean calling the appropriate authorities. That's what I'm
Yes.
wanting
And
to
that's
make
part
sure.
of the policy.
Yeah.
Call it in, incident reports.
Yeah.
We investigate it, we look at it, no matter how small or large it is.
Right.
We deal with them all in the same way, and there's procedures where we follow. And this is what our Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan kind of encompasses. That you're looking at your data, you're looking at what happened, and you're looking at risks that could happen, and you're trying to mitigate them all.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Theo, are you looking for a motion for the approval of the safety plan and also a motion for the resolution, or can we combine them into one motion?
It's a recommendation to the board, but it
It's a
can be combined.
recommendation?
It can be combined, yeah.
Okay. All right, so.
So moved.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? I'm sorry?
No, she was asking who seconded.
Oh, I see. Okay, motion passes for recommendation to the board. Thank you, Theo.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go on to item 4. Devin Deal, Planning and Data Analyst Manager, will present ridership and safety trends.
Good morning, Planning Committee. My name is Devin Deal, Planning and Data Analyst Manager. Normally these go to Finance, but I think as you saw, the agenda was kind of packed. We moved this to Planning. It goes a little more in conjunction with Mr. Bakalahamas' presentation on safety. And so with that, I'm gonna talk a little bit about safety at PSTA here today. So there are 3 major types of incidents that as an agency we track. They are quality of life, which is slips and falls, medical issues, things that in general are largely out of PSTA's control. We track collisions. Those are tracked as both preventable collisions, which means that the operator could have done something different to avoid that collision, and then non-preventables, which is something like a bus getting rear-ended, as you see in the photo right there. We track all of our security incidents as a regular security incident and as a severe incident. A regular security incident could be a verbal altercation, where a severe incident would be an assault or things of that nature. Also, PSTA as an agency, we are a little bit ahead of the curve. In 2019-2020, our safety, security, and training team saw an uptick in incidents on our services. We weren't sure if this was a nationwide trend, a regional trend. So our SS&T team convened Hillsborough County, Manatee County, Sarasota, Pasco, USF, the Center for Urban Transportation Research across the bridge. And this was in the wake of the driver at Hart that lost their life in an altercation. And they compared data to try and find out if there was an uptick, and we found out that in our region there was. And now, a few years later, the federal government actually sees this broadly across the country, and they require expanded reporting on safety incidents and risk mitigation. So just a shout out to our safety and security team, always on top of it. So just to expand a little bit on some of our incidents, we track our security incidents and our severe incidents, and we normalize those per 100,000 rides. Just to kind of compare apples to apples. Some month we may have more rides, some month we may have less, so we wanna make sure that we're comparing like data. In security incidents, we do see, let's see. There we go. In the summertime here, I know James Bradford just spoke to youth. We can often see youth being unruly in the summertime whenever they're out of school and things like that. That typically leads to an uptick in some of our non-severe security incidents. We see a similar trend in the summer this fiscal year. We've seen it for the last few fiscal years. But overall, our overall security incidents are pretty flat. Our severe incidents, there is less of a trend to those severe incidents, but again, pretty flat over the years. And you see the severe incidents, sorry, I didn't explain this at the beginning. The blue line is our overall tracking of security incidents, but our severe incidents is a sub count of those security incidents. So you see the security incidents in blue and the severe incidents in orange, and then you see the trend lines associated with each to determine whether they've been going up or down since fiscal year 23. We also track accidents. Those are normalized per 100,000 miles. And a little more sporadic again, but we do see some trends. If these weren't normalized per 100,000 miles, we would see a larger uptick in February, March for spring break, because accidents do tend to go up as that traffic increases. But given that we typically run more service, averaging it out per 100,000 miles kind of brings those down within normal. So even though we do see more accidents during the spring break timeframe, it's not necessarily a higher rate of accidents. We also have our preventable accidents on the bottom in orange. And while those are trending down since the beginning of fiscal year 23, there is something that I wanted to point out. If you bring this data back to say 2018, 2019, the trend that you would see is our overall accidents are trending down, but our preventable accidents are actually trending slightly up. And there's a very good explanation for that. Preventable accidents are a very serious thing for our operators. And our safety, security, and training team, they train our operators, they work with them on a daily basis, they investigate these incidents. And preventable collisions can have a negative impact, like there's consequences to that as a driver. And so our SS&T team designating an accident as preventable, that's a serious thing. And there has been a real effort over time to be more unbiased and more vigilant and really classify these incidents correctly. And so while we have seen a slight uptick in preventable accidents over, say, the last 6 or 7 years, and our overall accidents going down, we attribute that to really strong effort from our safety and security team to make sure that we are classifying those preventable accidents correctly so that we can give the operators the proper training after those occur. And this was a shorter one, but with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, Devin.
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there any other business the committee has?
Okay, Mr. Chair. Mr.
Okay.
Chair?
Yes.
If I could just say one more thing about the accidents, thank you, Devin, for that presentation and the discussion about the accidents. I always like, my preference is to just look at total accidents. Because there's no judgment of whether a bus is in an accident. The preventable accidents is a judgment call based on the police or based on our own safety team. And in theory, you know, the National Safety Council has a whole Bible to talk about safety provisions and everything, and there is a theory out there that every accident is preventable somehow, you know. There's no such thing as a unpreventable accident. You can say, well, bus being rear-ended by a car, how bad could that happen? Well, maybe the driver didn't put the brake on, you know, enough notice, or, you know, there's 18 different things. It's kind of like the Ford Pinellas has the Vision Zero concept. So my goal is to always have the total accidents, no matter if they're preventable or not, going in the right direction. And I am happy that it is.
All right, well, thanks for that. And
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think there's every accident, there's a little bit of something involved in both, you know, liability wise, so. We can get ours cut down, that's better. All right, so,
Are you adjourning?
Yeah.
Before you adjourn, I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to all the PSTA staff and all the people and everybody that has been very supportive right now. I'm gonna try not to cry. Amazing, simply amazing. And you know, I know that our PSTA staff is amazing as it is because Brad and the supervisors have put the people in place that need to be there, that have the talent to make us all look good. And the outpour of love, support, and prayers is unimaginable. So thank you very much. And thanks for being amazing people. And to all my colleagues, the reach out was amazing, and thank you so much. Thank you for being there for me. And that's all I got before I cry.
a lot of prayers go out to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, well, our next meeting is May 14th, and this meeting is adjourned.